Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music, and I'm back with the second epic chord hack of the week. So on Wednesday, we looked at chromatic mediant motion, and I have to say, super powerful, right? Well, there's kind of like the other side of the coin to chromatic mediant motion that, if I'm honest, I use more often. I'll show you what I mean. Well, first of all, if this is the second or third video of mine you've seen and you're getting something out of this channel and you're not subscribed, I know most people who watch this channel are not subscribed, right? It's weird, but there it is. Now's the time to subscribe. Please do. It's great for the channel. We're building a community really here of composers, producers, musical artists who are interested in learning more music theory, ideas about music, but ideas not for academic results, but rather just to serve our own musical interests. I hope this is music theory for everyone. Listen, I want to talk about how non-diatonic chord motion can still give us that sense of drama and sort of like propulsion that we're looking for epic music, for cinematic music. And there are a couple of tricks. We looked at chromatic mediant modulation, and we should probably do a quick review of that. But before we do that, let's look at just like normal chord motion for a second. You know that in any key, there's a set of chords whose behaviors are fairly conventional. I went C, G7, C, and there's something about that G7 chord which really just wants to go to C, and it's about the tritone. That tritone wants to resolve. It's just part of the nature of how we hear, mostly because of how we've been trained. Well, it turns out that that tritone is not the only way to propel things forward. Every triad could be major or minor, and in a given key signature, each step of the scale has a identity. So 1 is major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, and so is 5. It's the dominant chord if you add the 7th. 6 is minor, and then this tritone on the top really wants to resolve to C. Well, as it turns out, we don't have to use those chord qualities when we're trying to create epic music. In fact, what we were looking at on Wednesday was simple triads whose roots moved in thirds instead of in the conventional fourths that we see in tonic dominant relationships. I went C, A flat major to E. Very bright, really exciting. The roots moved in major thirds, the chords were major. And we could do the same thing with minor thirds. We could have like a minor chord, and then I'll move up to E minor, and then A flat minor. It's very dark and beautiful. Back to C minor. This is great for, epic scoring, those sad moments. Sounds like Wagner, right? I mean, it's really interesting. And all I really did was I moved the roots in thirds. Major, minor triads, add a little melody. Now, making melodies out of that can be difficult because you've got to be pretty careful about what notes work with the chords. So that chromatic mediant motion, very powerful. And it comes from... There's a kind of a modern theory, neo-Riemannian theory, that a lot of people just are crazy for. It's really actually, I think, kind of interesting. So here's a major triad, C major, and the third is that E. Now that third could be the minor third of C sharp minor, or in this case, it's spelling D flat minor. Listen to this sound. There's a common tone, right? The E. I'm calling this C sharp minor, so I can call that middle note E both times. really pretty sound. Aside from the little clips that we heard there, I'm taxing my system, I guess. Listen, when we combine the idea of a slip with the principle of chromatic mediant motion, we can do an awful lot of damage because you can get some really interesting effects. So C major and then up to E major. This G sharp is going to turn into A flat as I go to F minor. It's really pretty. And from that minor chord, F minor, I can go to a minor chord on something a third away, let's say D flat minor. And D flat minor has an E, which is the third of C. I should have called that C sharp minor. So let's review what I just did. It was really kind of weirdly beautiful. C, E major, F minor, C sharp minor, the whole thing starts again. It's a circle, a very strange circle in a pretty way. This is powerful stuff. The third shifting from being a major third to being a minor third of a different chord, and then combining that with chromatic mediant motion gives you access to a whole set of chords whose relationships are not diatonic, that don't exist in the ordinary conventional system, and yet it's just so powerful. It's just so interesting, isn't it? Listen, try it out for yourself, and I'd love to know how it works out for you. Is this interesting for you? A lot of the times it sort of comes down to, have I voiced these chords well? And you'll discover if you try this, that the notes from the individual chords, they're always just like a half step away from each other. It's all about this kind of like slippery, sliding, morphing motion. You can see it on the screen here if you look closely at it. I hope this has been useful. Like and subscribe and ding the bell. You'll be notified when I do my videos. I'll see you next time.